ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविता शाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम्। मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्। दक्षिणे लक्ष्मणो यस्य वामे च जनकात्मजा पुरतो मारुतिर्यस्य तं वन्दे रघुनन्दनम्। Okay, Hare Krishna, welcome back. We are going to begin with chapter 106 of the Ayodhya Kanda. So the Ayodhya Kanda has 119 chapters. So we're very close to ending or completing Ayodhya Kanda, which is fascinating that we've been able to cover so many chapters somehow progressively. So we haven't completed it yet. We're still, we'll need 2 sessions more at least, because today we're going to talk about some discussion between Ramachandra and Bharata, then some discussions with a sage called Jabali, then Vasishta Muni convincing Sri Ramachandra. Then we'll get to next week. Next week, depending upon whether or not we have a session, we will talk about the great Padukas. And from then on, okay. Then is the very, very amazing story of Atri and Anusuya. And their house near river Mandakini, and some story about Anusuya Devi. Very fascinating personality in our Vedic tradition. She's the wife of Atri. There is a whole story in Srimad Bhagavatam, and then there is story in Ramayana. So we will glorify this great lady and her conversation with Sita Devi, and then we will move to Aranyakanda. So there's still some time. Hold your horses. I should hold my horses as well. Okay. So chapter 106. Now Bharata wants to give a list of reasons why Ramachandra should again be the king. So first he asked him to come back. Ramachandra said no. Then after hearing the news of Dasharat Maharaj's departure, Ramachandra's swooning and became unconscious out of separation and sadness for not being able to see his father at the point of death and not being able to perform his final rites. So with Sita and Lakshmana, he offers some Ganges water, Mandakini River water. So now they're all sitting there on the banks of river Mandakini, and Bharata now again wants to convince Ramachandra. So he glorifies the great qualities of Ramachandra. Now I'm going to read a couple of verses because these are meditations on Sri Ramachandra, and these are Bharata's meditation. In Nectar of Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami, in the section of Vandanam, says that there are three categories of prayers that a devotee should practice. And the first category is reciting prayers of the previous acharyas, because we may not be able to come up with our own prayers just yet, maybe, or we can offer our own heartfelt prayers. But it's always powerful to recite the prayers of previous acharyas. It's called Samprata. My God, my memory suddenly fails me. Anyway, and the second category of prayer, it'll come back to me. Samprarthanatmika, sorry. Samprarthanatmika is reciting prayers of previous acharyas. Then the second category of prayers is Dainyavodhika, which are prayers where a person speaks very, very diminutively of themselves as a very humble appeal. Dainyava-Uddhika, completely filled with dainya. And the word dainya comes from the word dina, feeling very, very low. Not low like sad, mentally low, or low is of a position in relation to Krishna, that I'm very, very tiny. For example, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Sikshashtaka says, Ainanda Tanuja Kimkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Budav. So this is Dina condition. Patitam me. I have fallen into this ocean of birth and death. Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sthita Dholi. Please consider me an atom of dust and keep me at your lotus feet. So this is Dainya Bodhika prayer. And the third category is called Lalasamayi, where a devotee expresses certain desire, and it's not just Ichha, but Lalasa means very ardent desire. I have a very ardent desire to serve you in this particular way. So Srila Narottam Das Thakur's prayers, for example, Radha Krishna Pranamura Yugala Kishore, that prayer is called Lalasamayi. So the reason for this preamble is, when we hear these verses of Bharata, and if we are inspired to recite them in front of Sri Ramachandra, then they are a way of glorifying and meditating on the greatness of the Lord. Last week, we were hearing about the relationship of Bharata. He says, Na Shantim. I will not find any peace. Now he's talking about the uniqueness of Lord Sri Ramachandra. So when we say Supreme Personality of Godhead, this in one sense is the supreme and very unique position of the Lord. Okay. And so he begins with Ko hi syad idrisho loke yadrishah tvam arindama natvam pravatyayed dukkham pritirva na praharshyat. So he says, who is there in this formidable world? Ko hi syad idrishya loke. Okay. And someone who is in comparison to you. Yadrishah tvam arindama. Idrishah means endowed with such quality. Who is there like you? Arindama, one who can torment his enemies. And he says, Natvam pravathayed. Now, pravathayed, we hear in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yam hina vyathayanti ete. Purusham Purushar Shabha. This is second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verse 15. So with that word, Vyathayanti. Vyathayanti means becoming degraded. So natvam pravathayat. So you never become degraded, or you never even go to your lower nature, because there isn't any lower nature, in the condition of dukkham. Na tvam pravathaye dukkham. Okay. What happens when you're very happy? Ritirva na praharshayet. Even when there is a thing to rejoice, you don't go out of bounds. And how does Bharata know this? Of course, he's always been with Ramachandra. And for us, although Bharata was not there at that point, we know that when Dasharath Maharaj invited Ramachandra and said, tomorrow morning you will be coronated the king or prince regent for the entire planet, with the capital in Ayodhya. Ramachandra had a gentle smile and he bowed his head and said, as you wish. Next morning, his father calls him without any reason or without any notification, and he says, you will go to the forest for 14 years right now, as you wish. This is Natvam Pravatyaye Dukkham Pritim Va Na Praharshayet. Then he talks about another quality. Sammatah cha asi vriddhanam tam cha prukshasi samshayan. And you are respected even by the very senior and wise persons. Vriddhanam cha asi, you, sammatah, they respect you. Okay. Why? Because there is a great quality in you. You are the wisest among all creatures, all living beings. Yet, when you have to take a decision, what do, Ramachandra? Tam chaha prikshasi samshayan. Samshaya, whenever you have a doubt of what is the right thing to do, you ask these elderly persons, you ask these superiors. Sammatah cha asi vriddhanam tam chaha prikshasi samshayan. You never think that I know everything. That is your great quality. And who's there who can compare to you? Okay. What about another set of qualities? Yatha mritah tatha jivanam yatha asati tatha sati. Yasya esha buddhi labah syat paritapyate kena saha. Kena saha. Who is anyone like you? Who is not moved or disturbed by mritaha tatha jivana. He is not disturbed by death, nor is he disturbed by life. Okay, because you look at, here is the verse, your vision of the dualities of life remains the same, whether it is birth or death. Mritaha tatha jivanam. Whether it is fortune or misfortune, whether it is favorable or unfavorable. Yatha asati tatha sati. And yasya esha buddhi labha syat. Okay. And you see everything paritapyena. You, because of your austerity, you see life and death, fortune or misfortune, everything with with an equal eye, with an equal vision. Right? We hear in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Pandita Samadarshinaha. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. Samah sarveshu bhuteshu. Madbhaktim labhate param. Samah sarva bhuteshu. Plus, he sees all circumstances also with equal vision. Okay. Next set of qualities. Oh Ramachandra, you are such an amazing, you are the actual king. Okay. So he says, Paravaragyo yascha syat yathatvam manujadhipaha. Manuja adhipa. You are the actual ruler of mankind. Sa evam vyasanam prapya na vishiditum arhati. You understand time better than anyone because time is under your control. And you never feel despondent. Na eva vyasanam prapya, when you have vishiditum, when you have adversity in your life. This is the example Ramachandra lives by as an emblem, that when adversity comes in someone's life or in his life, he does not degrade, he does not get disturbed because he sees it as a function of time. Oh, wonderful, great soul, Mahatma Sri Ramachandra, Amaraha, Upama Sattvaha, Tvam Mahatma Satya Samgaraha, Sarvagyaha Sarvadarshi cha, Buddhiman cha Asi Raghava. Oh, Raghava, oh, great Mahatma, you are the most magnanimous personality. You are very strong, powerful like the demigods. Amaraha Upama Sattvaha. Upama means equal to or just like. And you are always true to your promise. Satya Samgara. Satya Sangraha. Sangraha means you hold on to truth like nobody else. Sarvagya, you know everything. Sarvadarshi, you can see. Sarvadarshi means you can see everywhere in the space dimension and you can see everything in the time dimension, past, present, and future. Side note, there are some personalities who have three eyes. Lord Shiva and some great other personalities have three eyes. For most human beings, the third eye is not opened. So we say Trikalagya because all three eyes are open. With our one eye, we can see the past. With the other eye, we see the present, but we cannot see the future. Therefore, we have two eyes just to get a sense of past and present. Even with present, not everyone has the ability to get full grasp of the present. Still, the two eyes help us with past and present. Only great personalities like Vyasadeva, Narada, Lord Shiva, and these great sages, they are called Trikalagya. The third eye is open because they can see the future. Ramachandra, you are such a person. Sarvadarshi cha, Buddhiman cha. And you are completely endowed with intelligence and knowledge of everything. Such is your greatness. O Ramachandra, Natvam evam gunair yuktvam prabhavaha abhava kovidam. Kovidam, you are the most wise and all-knowing person. Avishyahatam dukkham asadayitum arhati. When the greatest calamity attacks you, you never attack it back because you are endowed with qualities such as recognizing and understanding that everything has a beginning and an end. And not just everything, all living entities have a sense of beginning and an end. And he says, now, Ramachandra, I'm begging you to be gracious to me, be kind to me, because there is a sinful deed that my mother has committed, and I was in my absence, and it's not to my liking. I don't like what she has done. So I'm seeking your grace upon me. I am bound by the chains of morality. Okay, dharma bandhena baddho asmi tena imam na ihamataram. So he says morality binds me very strongly. Therefore, I cannot kill my mother. I cannot punish her. One, because there are two levels of morality here. A son cannot, someone who's considered junior cannot cannot exert punishment, cannot punish someone senior. It's not allowed. Uh, and although my mother has performed something that is worthy of retribution or punishment, Hanmi tivrena dandena dandam arham. Dandam arham means she deserves punishment. Why? Papa Karinim. She's performed a sinful act. However, as a son, I am bound by morality that I cannot punish my mother. That's one morality. However, by the order of Rishi Jamadagni, Parashuram cut off Renuka's head, his mother's head, because that was a higher order, but it is not common. Even Arjuna says, Gurun ahatva. How can I fight and be on a battlefield to kill my superiors, my Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Bhishma Dev? I cannot do this. But the second and more important morality that he is bound by is that for him, this worldly morality is one consideration, not such a big thing. But the real morality is Ramachandra will not be happy. That is what binds him from that binds him from doing something that he would otherwise consider doing. And he says, how can I, who am also a son of Dasharat Maharaj, and I understand what is proper and improper, how can I do something wicked and horrible act like this? And after all, I remember the great teachings of our father, King Dasharatha, who was considered the emblem of Dharma. Okay? And who in the right mind, who knows proper principles, will behave like this? If they are doing so, that means they are not in their proper state. They've become mad. And it says, in the olden age, olden times, they would say that at the time of death, living beings, especially human beings, they lose their judgment. Okay, it happens because the sense of whatever time that is left is very, very little. So they lose their sense of judgment, according to Bharata. It says, Antakalehi bhutani muhyanti itihi purashruti. Itihi, I have heard like this, pura, way back in time, shruti. This is a adage from a very olden time, that Antahakalehi bhutani muhyanti. At the time of death, living beings lose their judgment. And I feel that our father Dashrath Maharaj also, it happened to him. Ragya evam kurvata loke pratyaksha sa shruti krutaha. The king made this saying come true. And the reason our father transgressed, the sense of transgression that is there, is from that anger that he had for Kaikeyi, or the sense of, not anger, the fear of making Kaikeyi angry. That's one possibility. Or just this infatuation, this blind love for her, that he could not keep a noble purpose higher. And so he says, Ramachandra, you're the actually good son of Dasarath Maharaj because you can set this right. No one else can. So please do not make it worse for all of us by continuing to stay in the forest. I would like you to come back. Please, by coming back to Ayodhya, you will save me, you will save our father, you will save my mother, our friends, our relatives, all the citizens and the villagers and the entire kingdom. Just one act of coming back to the kingdom will have all these effects. Kaikeyim mam cha tatam So Mam, Kaikeim, Mam, Tatam, my dear Ramachandra, Cha Sahruda, all our friends, Bandhavan Cha Sanaha, Pauraha, Paura means city residents, Janapadan Sarvam, all the other areas of the kingdom. Tratu, please deliver us. Sarvamidam Bhavan. Only you can do it. And in this forest, where do you have this princely dignity? Sitting here with matted hair, wearing these kinds of tree bark? Please, this is very contradictory to your nature and you who you are. So I'm intentionally going into verse by verse so we can appreciate the desperation with which Bharata is wanting Ramachandra to come back. And he makes many other cases, other verses. Please, you know righteousness. You have to protect the four Varanas because Krishna says, Chatur Varanam Maya Srishta. So if you're the creator, then you are the maintainer as well. And you know what is right and what is wrong. And sitting in the forest is wrong, according to me. And then he says, I am actually junior to you in all respects. So how can I rule the earth? What are the respects? Shrutena, by education, I am younger to you. Balaha sthanena, I'm younger to you by age or by birth. Janmana bhavato hyaham. Okay. So I'm younger than you in knowledge. I'm younger than you in situation. I'm younger than you in birth. Sa katham palayishyami bhumim bhavati tishtati. Sa katham palayishyami. How can I rule when you are still here? In our tradition, our lineage, the eldest son always becomes the king. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm a mere child in comparison to you. I don't have the kind of intelligence. I don't have the kind of virtues that are required for occupying the throne instead of you. Hani buddhi guno balo hina. So hina buddhi. I don't have the same intelligence. My intelligence is much lesser. Hina. Guno balo hina. So gunaha balaha sthanena chapyaham aham. Bhavata cha vina bhuto na vartayitum utsahe. I cannot live even for a moment. Vartayitum. I cannot manage a moment of my life vina without you. This entire kingdom belongs to our Father. So without any distraction, without any hindrance, as per prescribed duties, you should be the king. And not just me, all our ministers, Vasishta Muni, all the great eight ministers that are here, the priests, the great sages, everyone thinks of it because they're all knowers. They're very intelligent, they're wise, they've studied well, they know the Vedas. So they are also feeling that you should come back. So please come and make all of us happy. And then he finally says, I am bowing my head at your lotus feet. Shirasa tva abhiyache aham kurushva karunam mai. Kurushva karunam mai. Please show me your grace because I'm offering my head at your lotus feet. Bandhaveshu cha sarveshu bhuteshu iva maheshwara. Oh, oh, great personality like Lord Shiva, who's the supreme among all living beings. Sarveshu bhuteshu iva maheshwara. So please show compassion upon me and all our relatives, just like Lord Shiva shows compassion on all living beings. Sarveshu bhuteshu iva maheshwara. Because there is no one more compassionate than Lord Shiva. And there are many, many, many pastimes identifying Lord Shiva's compassion upon the living beings. For example, by drinking the poison that came from the churning of the milk ocean and did not touch or even look at any of the 21 different opulences that came from the churning of the ocean. He didn't even look at it. He drank the poison, held it in his throat, and went away and said, all of you, you can enjoy the whatever wonderful things come from the churning of the ocean. It's all for you. And then, as the intensity is growing, Bharata is telling Ramachandra, now if you disregard what I say, this is the feature of love. It's so intense that now you're holding the other person at ransom. And he says, if you disregard what I say, and if you move again into the forest from here, guess what? I will also come with you. So this is almost like a loving blackmail, okay? Although this is no blackmail here. This is very, very ardent, humble, and pitiable plea. But I will also leave the kingdom and I will come to the forest. The idea that he's trying to convey with this is Ramachandra cannot tolerate that all of his lineage, great kings who have taken care of the kingdom, like a husband takes care of his wife, the kind of loving affection between a husband and a wife, and they take care of each other. If that's not there, Ramachandra will say, okay, I will come back. He doesn't. So then Valmiki Rishi says, even after being begged by Bharata like this, Ramachandra did not move in his sankalpa. Okay, he did not want to return to Ayodhya. Tathapi Ramo Bharatena tamyataha. Bharatena tamyataha prasadyamanaha means begging for mercy. Shirasa Mahipati, by his head, although he's a very great personality, he bowed his head at Ramachandra's feet. Nachaiva chakre gamyamanaya sattvavan. Nachaiva, he did not move in his determination. Matim pituhu tad vachane pratishtati. Lord Ramachandra, Mahipati, the husband of the land, the Lord of the earth, was still holding on to the words of his father that he had promised him. Pituhu tad vachane pratishtati. He made a promise and he's not going to move from that promise just because Bharata is begging. So this is one thing, that the Lord's determination, sankalpa, is so strong that there may be hundreds of reasons and hundreds of pleas to change that sankalpa, but he may not. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he decided to take sannyas, so many people were distraught. They were crying. They could not believe themselves that something like that was going to happen. And everyone told Nimai, please don't do sannyas. Why? You're not fit for sannyas. This is not the right. You have Lakshmi Priya. You have an old mother here. All of us are here. There is no one else in your family to take care of any of the situations. Please don't do it. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's determination did not change, because by taking sannyas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would deliver the entire humanity and other living beings, and not just his family and friends around. Similarly, Sri Ramachandra's determination is not just Bharata, Kaikeyi, kingdom, and citizens of Ayodhya, but entire humanity, especially by entering Dandaka forest, which is what he wants to do. Plus, there is a promise to the demigods to take care of Ravana and the entire Rakshasa clan. So that act of continuing to go into the forest is going to help the sages, Paritranaya Sadhunam, take care of the Rakshasas, Vinashchaya cha Dushkritam, and by living the promise given to his father, Dharma Sansthapanarthaya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. He appears and he enters the forest. So Bharata's words have not had any effect. So then Ramachandra gives his response. He says, Bharata, whatever you have spoken are very, very amazing, and they are worthy of you being the son of Dasharatha. And you're born to Kaikeyi, very amazing lady. But let me tell you something. Don't hold your mother as some sort of criminal or someone who's done some sin. Actually, long ago, when our father married your mother Kaikeyi, he promised Kaikeyi's father, so your maternal grandfather, he promised him that he would give the kingdom to Kaikeyi's son as part of the dowry. That is what he had promised. So that is there. Then later, there was a conflict between the demigods and the demons. And our father was invited to help with that war. And your mother Kaikeyi went to serve our father. And the kind of service she did was so pleasing. And she saved our father's life. So he became very happy and said, you can take two boons from me, whatever you want. This was the token of joy and gratitude. So your mother was such a great lady, at the time that she felt it was right, demanded the two boons from that she was eligible for from Dasharath Maharaj. And those two boons are the throne for you and forest for me. And our father obviously rightly has to fulfill the promise that he made. So in accordance to that, he said 14 years for me in the forest. So when I'm in the forest, there is no one to compare with me. I have no rival here. So I have come to this forest with Lakshmana and Sita in order to carry out this promise. And so similarly, you have your side of the deal or your side of the bargain to fulfill because you're also truthful in your promise. And that's the promise given that you will be the king. So go back and become the king. And for my sake, do this. That way, you will make both our mother and father happy. And he says, previously, there was a king by the name Gaya. And this Gaya name comes in the Bhagavatam as well. So while this king Gaya was performing a sacrifice, that place became known as Gaya, which we know today also is in Bihar, where Siddhartha became Gautam Buddha. And in Gaya, one should offer oblations to one's ancestors. And this king Gaya, he said the following verse, and we have heard sections of this verse from Srila Prabhupada many, many times. And when I say it, I'm sure you will recognize it. Punnamna narakad yasmyat pitaram trayate sutaha tasmat putra iti proktaha pitru rinaha yat pati vasutaha. Sutaha means he is a child or a son who is called putra. Tasmat putra iti proktaha. The son is called putra because he does something. Punna namna narakad yasmad pitaram trayate. One who can release his father from a hellish condition called pun, or such a hellish condition called pun. Such a person is called putra. We all speak to others and we say mantra means one that releases the mind. So putra is that one who releases the father from the hellish condition called pun. Putnama. Punnama trayate iti putraha. And Gaya said, those who have sons, at least one amongst them, who is intimately connected if even if one of that set of sons comes to Gaya to perform this sacrifice, then those ancestors who are stuck in a hellish condition will be released. So he says, "Oh Bharata, go to Ayodhya with Shatrughna and the Brahmanas and rule the kingdom. I will stay here in Dandaka with Sita and Lakshmana and fulfill the promise. And if you're feeling that somehow I am not the king, then let's decide that we will both rule. And this is how we will rule. And I'm going to recite this to you because this will come back in Kishkindha Kanda. And hopefully we'll remember and hopefully we'll get that far. Tvam Raja Bhava Bharata Swayam Naranam. Oh Bharata, you become the king of all the human beings. Okay. Vanyanam aham api raja ranamriganam. Sorry, not rana. Vanyanam aham api raja rat mriganam. You be the king of human beings, I'll be the king of animals. Vanyanam. In the forest, I will be the king of all the animals. Okay. So Gagachatvam Puraha Varam Adya Samprahrashta. So now go happily back to Ayodhya while I will go happily to Dandaka forest. So both of us will rule. You rule the human beings, I'll rule the animals in the forest. Bharata, let a white royal umbrella be held over your head to give you cooling shade. Okay, and I will take shelter under the canopy or umbrella of trees in the forest. So just the king is shaded by an umbrella, you get shaded by a white umbrella, I will get shaded by the trees. And Bharata, the very, very wise Lakshmana will be there to help you. Lakshmana will be here to help. Shatrughna will be there to help you. Lakshmana will be there to help me. And we, the four excellent sons, can make this promise of King Dasharatha come true. So don't be disappointed. Then Ramachandra extols, let me see the time. Don't have, let me see if there are any questions. Otherwise, I will narrate Jabali's story. Any questions or comments so far?
Hi Krishna Prabhu, I posted a question from Kirti Prabhu.
Okay, it says, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can you please help me understand despondency? Bharata says Lord Rama is never despondent. Lord Rama laments pitifully when Mother Sita was abducted. Looks like how despondency manifests externally can be very different under different circumstances and according to different personalities. For this, Kirti, we need to understand it in a way similar to the Vedas saying that the Lord has no form. Yet the Vedas also say that he has form. Or the verse in Ishopanishad, for example, Tanejati Tannaijati. He walks, but he does not walk. Tad dure tadantike. He is very far, but he is very near, etc. So there are these supposed contradictions or paradoxes. So when the Lord Ramachandra is said that he does not become despondent, it means he does not become despondent for material reasons. But spiritual despondency is the nature of separation. So everything that the Lord does and feels is only spiritual. The conditioned human being shows pervertedly reflected emotions. The sense of loss is from the sense of material connection with somebody. This is my husband, this is my wife, my child, my property, or whatever I consider in the category of my. When that is lost, I have a sense of despondency. But for the Supreme Lord, there is no such material designations or connections. So his feelings of emotions of despondency are from separation, from ecstasy of love. On a conditioned level, the despondency is from the ecstasy of separation on the basis of lust. Like Bhagavad Gita perspective is lust. It doesn't mean that we don't feel emotions and we are supposed to become rocks or stones or boulders, that we have no emotions at all. Our idea is our emotions are to be spiritualized. So the sense of loss of another person is out of a connection of that is also a part and parcel of Krishna, and in this life had some relationship with them. You tend to spiritualize the emotions. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Any questions or comments, or should I go into Jabali's story? Let's see.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Bharata told Rama that if you rule the kingdom, then both our parents and the citizens will be happy, right? But Dasharath was not alive, so how would he become happy?
So departed personalities, especially great kings like Rajarshis, it is said that they are happy in heaven. It's a phrase we use, that they are happy in heaven, that their desire has been fulfilled. Now, exactly no one can say Dasarath Maharaj's desire is fulfilled, whether he is happy or not. We can't say. But because of these great persons, they say that if they had a desire that was not fulfilled and it gets completed, there's a saying, they will be happy even in heaven, in that context. And later,
Thank you.
you're welcome. And later in the Uttarakanda, actually in the Yuddha Kanda, when Ravana is killed, Dasharath Maharaj comes to that scene. Indra brings Dasharath Maharaj, and Dasharath Maharaj tells him how happy he is with how things have worked out. Now, I only see Vrajeshwari Pran, Devi Dasi, but I know you're not Vrajeshwari Pran. So tell me your name.
Yashoda.
Yeah, oh, wow, Yashoda.
Yes,
Nice
Prabhu.
question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Seems like no other question. Should I quickly complete Jabali's story? I mean, it's not very big, but it'll be nice. Okay. So when all this conversation is going on, there is Jabali there. Jabali is one of the Brahmanas in Ramachandra's court, or Dasharath Maharaj's court. And we have heard about Jabali many, many, many times. Whenever Prabhupada speaks about a Brahmana is truthful, he gives the example of Jabali. Gautama Rishi was with his disciples, and one boy came to him and said, "Can you please accept me as your student?" And Gautama Rishi asked, "What is your lineage? Who's your father?" He said, "I don't know. Let me go ask my mother." And the mother said, "I don't know who your father is. I only know that your name is Satyakama. And since we are from a town called Jabali, your name is Satyakama Jabali." So he went back and said to Gautama Rishi, "My mother doesn't know who my father is. Therefore, my name is Satyakama. I'm from Jabali." Gautama Rishi became so happy at the son's or the boy's truthfulness, because it is embarrassing and shameful to say I don't know who my father is, which means it reflects on my mother's character. But truthfully, innocently, the boy spoke, and so Gautama Rishi accepted him. he grew up, and as Gautam Rishi is also in the court of Ramachandra, Dashrath Maharaj, so is Jabali. Now, Jabali, he spoke up, okay, in a way to support Bharata, and he tells Ramachandra, enough of your talking like this. Not like you should shut up or anything, but he says enough. Actually, let your wisdom not sound like a common man. Okay, you're actually distinguished. You're very special in your intelligence and virtue. He says, Sadhu Raghava ma bhut te buddhir evam nirarthaka. Nirarthaka means one who doesn't know what he's talking about. Prakritasya means like a neophyte, right? Rupa Goswami says a neophyte means prakrita bhakta. Don't be a neophyte. Prakritasya nara iva arya buddhe tapasvinaha. You're actually great in austerity and buddhi, but you're speaking like a neophyte. Actually, in this world, who is related to who? Kaha kasya purusho bandhu, kim apyam kasya kechinaha. And where do you get anything from, and what do you lose? Every creature is born alone and dies alone. Yad eko jayate jantuhu, eka eva vinashyati. You're born alone, you die alone. You just think that these are all my relatives, these are all my possessions. Come on, what are you talking? You know better. And then he says, Ramachandra, he who clings on to another living being saying, this is my father, this is my mother, such a person, you should know that they have lost their intelligence. Actually, nobody belongs to anybody. So he says, Tasman mata pita cha iti Rama sajjeta yo naraha unmatah iva sajjayo na asti kachid he kasyachit. Nobody belongs to anybody. Unmata means it's just kind of cuckoo. Okay. And then he says, if a person is traveling from one village to another village, but he spends the night at one of the villages, next morning when he gets up, he just moves on to the next village. He doesn't say, oh, all these villagers are my people. He just continues on his journey. So this sense of mother, father, home, possession, come on. They're just a resting place. The wise people don't become attached to this. This sounds a little like Bhagavad Gita, right? Vasamshi jirnani yatha vihaya. Vihaya, as one is traversing, he puts on some clothes and then takes off these clothes and puts on another set of clothes, and one is not disturbed by such change. So Jabali seems to talk a little just like that. Then he says, you should not abandon your father's kingdom and live in some lonely forest where there's nothing but thorny bushes and rough ground and all that. Come on, just get yourself crowned as the king of Ayodhya. The city is waiting for you. Enjoy all these royal luxuries. Okay, move around in Ayodhya just like Indra moves around in heaven. Actually, Dasharatha is nobody to you, and you have nothing to do with Dasharatha. That king was a different king. You are a different king. So just do as I'm telling you. Actually, what are you calling father, son? What is it? It's one sperm going and fertilizing the egg. That's it. It goes from the father, goes into the mother's womb, fertilizes. And that's how a human being is born. And you're calling all these relationships, this thing, that thing. The king is gone. Wherever he needed to go, the king is gone. This is after all fate. This is how it works. So don't get unnecessarily frustrated over this trivial matter. In fact, I have great pity for people who, with so much wealth and religious merit like you, are undergoing this kind of unnecessary suffering in this life. And he's saying, they say that on the 8th day, you should perform all these sacrifices for your ancestors and offer them food. This is such a waste of food. If you offer moong dal, rice and water here, that person who's dead, they will get to eat. What kind of nonsense is this? Somebody is dead there. How can they get what to eat? Forget about the dead people. Even live people, suppose your father or mother is traveling somewhere and they've gone on a journey from Chicago. Let's say they're going to New York. And along the way, they stopped somewhere in Pennsylvania. If you make a plate of breakfast and keep next to you and say, "Oh, father, on your way to New York, I hope this satisfies your hunger." You think it satisfies their hunger there? Come on. Will it become food for them? So don't get so disturbed by all these ceremonies, religious things. All you should do is perform some sacrifice, as the people say, perform some sacrifice, give some charity, become purified, practice austerity, renunciation. He says this is only written by people, learned people, for the sake of inducing others to give in charity. When we used to travel in Mumbai, there's guys, they would come to beg and they would sing, and they would say, "Garibo ki suno, wo tumhari sunega." If you listen to the plea of poor people, then the Supreme Lord will listen to your plea. Tum 10 paisa doge, wo 10 lakh dega. You give 10 paisa to us, we will give you 1,000,000 rupees. This is inducing them for charity. Oh, I will get something. So he says, just come to the conclusion that beyond this universe, nothing is there. So whatever meets your eye, you just turn around and you don't think of these relationships. It's all bodily. Just take on the kingdom. And Ramachandra becomes upset that Jabali can speak like this. So Ramachandra says to Jabali, one second, yeah. All right. Ramachandra becomes so upset, although this is a great Brahmana, very respectfully, very assertively, Ramachandra says, what you have spoken sounds very nice, but is not beneficial for anybody. In fact, it sounds as if it is benefit, but it is very harmful. What you have said is very harmful. He says, a man who's not bound by morality, who does not live within the bounds of morality and engages in evil deeds, actually does something contrary to good character. And the great people, they don't respect him. Nirmaryadastu Purushaha. So Ramachandra is called Maryada Purushottama. So Ramachandra is saying that one who doesn't live in the boundaries of morality, Nirmaryadastu Purushaha, Papachara Samanvitaha. They are full, they are endowed with Papachara, means their life is sinful behavior. Manam na labhate satyuhu bhinna charitra darshanaha. Manam na labhate. They don't get the respect of great persons. Satsu. Sat means those who are fixed in truth. Then kulinam akulinam va viram purushamaninam charitram eva vyakhyati shuchim va yadiva ashuchim. He says a person falls in the category of good family, kulim, or bad family, akulinam. Viram, very courageous, or just thinks that I'm courageous, purushamanina. Shuchim, I'm very pure, or impure. This distinction happens only on one dimension. Charitram eva akhyati. A person's character alone will tell you if this person is actually courageous or a coward, if this parent actually belongs to a good family or not, if this person actually belongs to being pure or impure. Very beautiful verses, very good lessons for us, for me. And then Ramachandra says to Jabali, you're speaking like an atheist. In fact, you are an atheist, and people should avoid the company of such a person. My father made a mistake by keeping you as one of his ministers and counselors. When Jabali hears this, he says, Ramachandra, I'm not an atheist. I also do not believe in atheism. In fact, I'm very much a theist. I believe in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I believe in the Vedic system. I live my life according to the Vedic system. But I took an opportunity in this situation to speak in a way to convince you to come back to Ayodhya. That's all I care about. I want you to come back to Ayodhya. So the love for Ramachandra made him speak in a way that somehow or the other, okay, even if it is non-Vedic, even if it sounds atheistic, I want Ramachandra to come back. This is a little similar to Advaita Acharya, who always felt that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy was not coming to him in its fullest way, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be very friendly and with the devotees, but with Advaita Acharya, there was a little sense of respect, and so he wanted to break that and feel Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's affection in its fullest way. So he said, the only way I can get Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be very expressive with me is if I preach Mayavad. So he actually started giving classes in Mayavad. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he heard, he came running and raised his hand on Advaita Acharya, saying, if you ever speak like this. And Advaita Acharya became so happy. Jai, Jai, finally Nimai Pandit has broken the boundaries of formality with me, and now has treated me as someone very dear to him. So this is Jabali's story. So with that, we end chapter 110. Okay, we're a few minutes past 10. If anyone wants to leave, you're welcome to. Yeah, I'll stay around for a few minutes to see if you have any questions or comments. Can you put the spotlight on my screen, please? Thank you. I like to be in the spotlight. Okay, any questions, comments, reflections, realizations, complaints?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. This is Atulya Devidasi.
Yes, Atulya.
So Prabhu, the example of this Brahmana who spoke the truth about, about his mother, and the mother also spoke the truth about his birth. So I want to understand the practical relevance of this to our life. I mean, I'm seeing more and more in the world that the more you're open, either you're taken advantage of, or it is, I mean, it just backfire in one way or the other. And especially in US, everything is so personal, and even asking a very simple question that probably in India would have been a warm exchange, here it becomes like intrusion into somebody's personal aspects. So there's so much cultural differences. So I want to hear from you more on this, being simple and honest, and how we can cultivate it being in this country.
Simplicity and honesty also have to be delivered. So what is important and how is also equally important. Yeah, there are cultural differences. And if we are living in this country, then learning how to express ourselves in a way that our audience can understand us and understand our intentions is also important. There are certain things in this culture it's okay, in another culture would not be okay. And something in that culture would be okay, in this culture would not be okay. In India, for example, my neighbor, she knew everything that was happening in my house before I knew what was happening. That's just the nature. Here, may not be, mostly is not. But that doesn't mean that neighbors don't help each other. People get to know it. I mean, I'm not speaking about your neighbor particularly. I'm just saying, in communities, even in America, people freely ask each other, how are you doing? What can I do for you? I heard something's not okay. Can I help you with this? Can I help you with that? At the same time, they will respect. If you don't say anything, they will not necessarily pull it out of you. They respect that you want to keep quiet on something. But that doesn't mean they become cold and insensitive. Sometimes it feels like that, but the human beings are everywhere. People in India are also cold and distant. They're also very warm and close. People here are also like that. People are people. But some regions have certain nuances that is important to learn.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
I'll tell you a funny story. Because I was in university here in America, and I learned to not ask a woman when she's about to deliver a baby. I cannot ask her when is she due, because I did ask somebody in my university when was she due, and she told me I'm not pregnant. From that time, I learned to shut up. Don't assume. We're all this trying to be friendly. I said, "Oh, when are you due?" She said, "I'm not pregnant."
Funny.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I'm Kumarika Devi Dasis. Did Sage Jabali talk about the Shraddha ceremony has got no meaning just to make Rama come back, or is it really true?
So that's what he says, no? I just said it to Ramachandra, to you, to just bring you back, although I myself believe in theism and the Vedic system. I very much believe in it. I took the opportunity just to see if you will come back to Ayodhya.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. I think we've come to a point, right? Any burning questions?
Hare Krishna, sir.
Yes.
Sir, there was a question in that chat box, but if you have answered it, I can go back to the.
I answered it. The first
Oh.
question that I did was the one.
Okay. Okay, I missed that part. I'll see the video again. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, everyone, Sri Ramachandra ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Until we meet next week, I will let you know if you're meeting next week. There is a seminar here by my spiritual master, so timings and all that, I don't know how it will match or not. So stay tuned for whether or not we're meeting next week. Until then, I hope our hearts and minds are drawn to the wonderful character of Sri Ramachandra as Bharata identified and prayed out of desperation to bring him back to Ayodhya. Okay, Hare Krishna.